Pleads guilty to trying to kill his ex-girlfriend with a machete, telling law enforcement he, quote, wanted to cut her head off, end quote. Bailey White was arrested on attempted murder and burglary charges for the incident that happened in February of 2021. Wilmington police say they responded to an apartment on Wrightsville Avenue and found the victim with life-threatening injuries. White was taken into custody by U.S. Marshals the next day in Dunn, North Carolina. Today, in court, he pleaded guilty to all charges. He'll spend at least 17 years behind bars for his crimes.